Hello and welcome to Jedi Jingle Maker. This is my YouTube channel where I review gear. I also release my original music, which is also available on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, even YouTube Music. So go check it out. I make music with these instruments. There'll be a link at the end of the video to the music I made with this instrument. I've used it now in about 4 songs. I find it to be so reliable. However, I did make a significant investment. I'll tell you all about what I did to this, my most significant guitar modification experience, which turned out to be the best ever and deliver me a studio-ready machine, which I use almost every day. So first things first, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Please also hit the like button, thumbs up. Also, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about Firefly guitars or guitars in general, or whatever you want to kind of comment about. So this is a Firefly FFST guitar. It is part of the Pure series. You can see it says it there on the headstock. Classic Firefly headstock, which I like on a Strat. I like this headstock on a Strat. I don't like it on a Telecaster, but I like it on a Strat. And it came with locking tuners, and we'll go into the whole guitar, all of its features. And this is basically the 6-month review of the thing, half a year review. And I would not do anything differently is my final analysis here. I have made it into exactly the guitar I dreamed it could be. And I wouldn't change a thing except for the couple things I do plan to change. So this is a beast of a guitar. All right, let's dive into all the aspects of this thing. First of all, the body. You can see it's got that ceruse finish on it, which is rather nice, in my opinion. I think it gives it an interesting kind of almost like whitewashed texture. I would say that it's not applied perfectly evenly, like it's a little heavier on the turns and stuff, whatever. On the back, you can really see the grain cut into it. I'd say this one spot maybe a little light, but you really can see the grain. You can also really feel this. It's a very textured feeling. You can see the divots there. It's a very heavy guitar as a result. I mean, this thing weighs, I'm going to say, close to 9 pounds, in that range. So it's a fairly heavy guitar. It sounds so good, and I attribute that to this swamp ash body being so resonant. The whole thing vibrates when you play. I call it swamp ash. It's just Chinese ash, whatever they use, wherever they got it from, wherever. But it's an ash wood, and it vibrates like you wouldn't believe. I think ash guitars are incredible. Some of the earliest Telecasters and so on were made of ash. It is a very resonant tone wood. I think it gives the tone a lot of mid frequency, and what I mean is how much the way it vibrates in relation to the magnet and the pickup. I think it makes a big difference to the tone woods, and having this ash just makes it sound thumpy, in my opinion, which is something I like. Now you can see I also upgraded the backbone of the thing by putting in pickups that are not stock. I took out the Firefly pickups. I kept all of the electronics, and now that leads me to what I would change moving forward. The only last thing I think I'd change is to upgrade all of the electronics, the switch and the three potentiometers that you see there. Just replace that, and the jack. But I think the jack, now that I think of it, the jack was already replaced with the 2-sided jack type. I forget the name of it. I'll put the link in the description, but I did upgrade that. But that's the only thing I would replace. So these pickups are Seymour Duncan. That's an Omega pickup. And these are 2 quarter-pounder pickups, also from Seymour Duncan. You can see the giant size poles. I think it looks so cool. I've actually got to lower them down a little bit. They're a little bit intense for this guitar, to be honest. I actually made an error by getting the staggered poles. I should have just got the flat poles. The staggered poles are better for what I've heard is the more flat down towards the bottom of the neck guitars. So, I might end up putting them in something else, but I like them for now. They get an interesting tone. It's just that they are so hot that I think I'm going to lower them down even farther than they're at right now. Although they work, they're just pretty hot. One of the other changes that I did was I put on these Goiker roller saddles, and man, do they work great. This thing is a great tremolo. They call it a high quality Korean tremolo, but I just find it to be an excellent 2-point trem. I think it holds tune very well. The one thing you might worry about on something like this is that if the, you can see that's got a little bit of oxidation or something on it. No, just wiped right off. I've been playing this a lot. It's got stuff on it. But these points where it contacts the bolt here could be where it would wear down, but I don't see any signs of that, and I think by that time I just replace it with something different, which would fit on here very easily. I know lots of people have upgraded this bridge on the interwebs, so it's possible. It needed a little bit of fret tapping on the frets. Some of them were a little high, didn't have completely even frets. I had to adjust the truss rod, which is done right here, of course, several times, because I'm in Florida and things move. But it's been no problem with buzzing or anything like that. I contemplated taking out these springs and putting in the fender type. I never did it, just because I figured they were fine the way they were. But you can see it has the cut in here for the heel, which makes it a little skinnier than a traditional Strat. It's also got the cut in for your hand. This is a great playing guitar, other than the fact that it's heavy. Probably one I would play sitting down mostly, because if you stand up long with it, and with my back, it will hurt a lot. But you can see the tuners are definitely upgraded. You can see the tuners are the old tuners that came with it. These are the locking tuners that came with it. They seem to work quite well. I did have some issues with the locking tuners on some other guitars, like this one. But on this guitar, the tuners worked quite well, so I just kept them. And they seem to hold tune really, really well. So I guess, you know, some are good, some are bad in my experience. Got several of these guitars. They're such low value. So let's talk about the cost of what this thing represents before and after modifications. You can see I've got this little thing that I put on here to mute the strings when I play solos and so on. Okay, so the guitar itself I think was about $190 shipped. I think that's what it was. Let's just say thereabouts. And I added some premium things to a starting point of $190. We can do the math here. So 190 plus, let's say that these pickups cost $230. And then you look at these saddles, those were about $25. The little jack that I replaced was about $8. The copper shielding that I installed under the pickguard and throughout the cavity, let's call that another $10. You might count the cost of the fret hammer, if you don't have one, to just lightly tap in some of the high points, which fixed all my issues, thankfully, because I don't like to have to file them down if I don't have to. But just kind of tap them in. That worked. The cost of a fret hammer is about $15 or less. I can put it's a jeweler's hammer. It's a little light hammer with a plastic end on it. Just use the plastic side, just kind of lightly tap it in, and with a fret rocker. I've got a video where I do that, and I can show you how it's done if you want. Check it out on the channel. But this guitar has been a very well-oiled machine in terms of playability. The frets have these ball end frets. All the Fireflies have these now, have these stainless steel ball end frets. So there's absolutely no high points. It's very smooth. Nothing sticks out. No fret sprout. No issue of any kind. This nut is a bone nut, and no kidding bone nut. Now I kind of file them out with guitar strings just to make sure they're nice and smooth. I also, of course, went down to the one string tree because these are staggered tuners and you don't need the two. You don't even need one, really, but I left one on there just to be traditional. But this guitar actually holds tune very well. Like I said, it's incredibly resonant. It just, with these pickups, it's a fire-breathing, high-output guitar in every single way, and that's what I wanted. I find it also works pretty well for some more vintage sounds, if you back the volume off a little bit, that kind of thing. So super cool guitar. The Firefly FFST is a mind blower if you get a good one and you put in some time, a little bit of money, you know, probably more than the value of the guitar itself. You have something that's probably a lifetime guitar. I can't see getting rid of this guitar ever. Such a solid machine. All the points and tolerances and screws were tightened to perfection for whatever reason as well. Just a solid machine of music and a studio machine. So check this song coming up at the end of the video where I use this thing to create a original song by Jedi Jingle Maker. Hope you will go check out all my music on the musical platforms like iTunes and Apple Music and YouTube Music, etc. It's all free and it's all available. You can add it to your favorites if you like it. That would support me greatly. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching Jedi Jingle Maker.